Y'all better hold on to your seats because this isn't some slow country heartbreak. It's a Hollywood storm disguised as a love story. The man once worshipped on stage, Keith Urban, is now the headline of every whisper in town. And the woman standing in the eye of that chaos is Nicole Kidman, who built an entire career on elegance and quiet power. But behind the designer gowns and red carpet smiles, there's a mess so deep that even Nashville's best spin doctors can't clean it. The spark that lit the fuse? A woman named Maggie Baugh, a rising singer who decided she wasn't going to keep her mouth shut anymore. The story began like a soft melody, a mysterious Instagram post from Maggie Baugh, just a photo of a guitar case in black and white with a caption that said, "Some secrets aren't meant to stay buried." Within minutes, fans went feral. Everyone thought it was about a record label betrayal or a broken contract. But soon the comments filled with one name, Keith Urban. That's when the whispers turned to shouts. People started digging, and what they uncovered didn't sound like music. It sounded like manipulation. Insiders claimed Maggie had stumbled across a secret investment network, one quietly connected to Keith's brand. The same network that allegedly used Nicole Kidman's name for legitimacy without her signing a single thing. Imagine that. The picture-perfect power couple who defined glamour and grit were suddenly accused of operating in shadows. One accountant who worked briefly under Keith's management told reporters about unexplained transfers, offshore accounts, and signatures that didn't match official records. The initials looked like Nicole's, but the handwriting didn't. Now, Nicole Kidman is the definition of precision. Every move in her life is choreographed to perfection. For decades, she's been Hollywood royalty, a vision of control, poise, and power. Meanwhile, Keith Urban built his brand as the reformed country boy who overcame his demons and found salvation in love. But sometimes redemption stories are just cover stories. And if the rumors are true, the redemption may have come with receipts written in someone else's name. Sources say Maggie Baugh overheard something in a Nashville studio one night, something she was never supposed to hear. A conversation between Keith's team about money being redirected and contracts signed with pre-clearance. At first, she brushed it off as legal talk until a deposit appeared in her account that didn't match her contract. That's when she started connecting dots, and what she found nearly ended her career. According to close friends, Maggie confronted Keith privately, hoping to clear the air. But instead of listening, he accused her of trying to blackmail him for fame. Within a week, she was dropped from 2 major music showcases. That's when she decided to play her final card, the truth. Once she went public, the internet did what it always does. It exploded. Keith's loyal fans called Maggie a liar, while others demanded answers. Old interviews, red carpet moments, even offhand comments about money were re-examined like evidence in a trial. But through all of it, Nicole Kidman stayed silent. Not one word. That silence became deafening, almost strategic. Insiders whispered that her lawyers were combing through years of financial records. One entertainment attorney even said that if Nicole's name was used without permission, this wasn't just scandal, it was criminal. The deeper investigators dug, the murkier it got. Reports surfaced that back in 2014, during one of Keith's recoveries from tour injuries, he convinced Nicole to give him more control over their shared financial accounts. The idea was simple. She'd focus on film, he'd handle their rural investments. But those investments allegedly led to shell companies, one even called Golden String Holdings, a business with no listed office, no staff, and no paper trail. The name alone sounded poetic and fake at the same time. Everything might have stayed buried if not for what came next, a leaked voice memo. It wasn't a rumor or a tabloid claim. It was an audio clip that supposedly featured Keith Urban himself, his voice calm, cold, and calculating. "She trusts me," he allegedly said. "The documents don't need her to sign if I already have pre-clearance. We've done this before." That one line changed everything. His team immediately called it a deepfake, hiring analysts to claim it was digitally altered. But independent sound engineers analyzed the clip and found it matched Keith's real voice pattern at 98% accuracy. 98. That number hit social media like thunder. The hashtags were everywhere. Shock Urban Leak, Nicole deserves better, Maggie spoke the truth. And once the memes started, the situation spiraled out of control. Then, as if to pour gasoline on the fire, an anonymous Twitter account appeared, claiming to be an ex-assistant from Keith's Nashville circle. The tweet said things like, "Check the Cayman transfers," and "she was filming in Morocco." Fans quickly realized she meant Nicole Kidman, who indeed had been on location in Morocco filming expats during the exact time frame the alleged transactions took place. Meaning Keith could have been moving funds under her name while she was literally on another continent. By now, even the most loyal supporters couldn't defend him. Networks quietly postponed interviews, and major sponsors started cutting ties. Suddenly, Keith Urban, once the charming face of country's golden era, was persona non grata. His team didn't post, didn't speak, didn't blink. Silence. But Maggie Baugh? She was louder than ever. Calm, collected, she went live and said, "Sometimes the truth plays louder than the music." That sentence turned into a rally cry, a quote printed on t-shirts, and a viral sound used across millions of videos. Behind the scenes, more smoke turned to fire. A gossip outlet called The Velvet Wire dropped screenshots of emails allegedly between Keith's management and a Sydney law firm. They referenced spousal identity and licensing use under entertainment clause, legal jargon for using Nicole's name to secure business credibility. One email even said, "Ensure the primary spouse remains uninvolved to preserve plausible deniability." That's not romance. That's corporate betrayal. When reporters reached out to Nicole's team, they didn't deny or confirm. But someone close to her told a journalist, "She's focusing on her children and the truth." In Hollywood language, that means lawyer up. And the fallout was instant. Fans flooded Keith's videos with angry comments, calling him Mr. Kidman's accountant and the country con man. Some even demanded he be removed from upcoming music festivals. And the internet, hungry for drama, delivered. Old photos of Keith and Maggie resurfaced, showing them smiling a little too close at industry events. Suddenly, what had started as a financial scandal started to look like something more personal. Every post, every look, every lyric was dissected until nothing was left untouched. The calmest person in all of this? Nicole Kidman. No posts, no interviews. Just that still, poised silence that said without a word, "I know more than I'm letting on." But silence doesn't last forever, and the storm was only getting started. The morning after the storm broke, Nicole Kidman's silence finally made sense. The Nashville Ledger dropped. A story claiming federal auditors were investigating one of Keith Urban's mysterious companies, Golden String Holdings, the same name that had been floating through leaked messages and fan theories for weeks. Suddenly, this wasn't gossip anymore. It was a full-blown investigation. As the article spread, another leak hit the internet, an email exchange between Nicole Kidman and her attorney. In it, she wrote, "If any of this proves true, I will not only walk away from the marriage, I'll ensure every signature tied to my name is investigated. I will not be anyone's brand." That single sentence lit the internet on fire. Overnight, Nicole stopped being seen as the silent spouse and became a symbol of strength. Fans flooded her pages with messages calling her the woman who finally said enough. The woman who finally said enough. Behind closed doors, Keith's team was scrambling. Public apologies were drafted and scrapped. PR statements about healing were rejected. Even a suspicious story about a rehab setback surfaced online, and people immediately saw through it. His charm couldn't save him this time. Country stations started quietly pulling his songs from playlists, sponsors cut deals, and what used to be admiration turned into disgust. Meanwhile, Maggie Baugh was standing taller than ever. Her calm defiance had made her a hero in the eyes of fans. She posted a photo on Instagram, a single line in the caption, "When you lie to the music, the truth writes itself." It spread like wildfire. She was no longer seen as a troublemaker. She was the whistleblower Nashville didn't know it needed. And just when the world thought she was done, she hinted in a streaming interview that there was more evidence locked in a private drive. "What you've seen," she said, "that's only the intro." Rumors swirled that Keith had privately tried to pay Maggie off to make it all disappear. But people close to her said she refused, telling him, "You can't buy silence with royalties." That line hit headlines worldwide, cementing her as the woman who took down one of country music's biggest names. At the same time, Nicole Kidman was quietly rebuilding her empire. She reportedly separated every joint account, reclaimed ownership of her production company, and moved funds into her own trust. When she appeared at a Hollywood gala weeks later, no ring, no Keith, just that calm, luminous smile, a reporter asked how she felt. Her answer, lighter. That single word became a headline. But while Nicole was rising, Keith's empire kept sinking. Concert venues canceled shows, luxury brands froze partnerships, and old collaborators stopped taking his calls. The man who once sang about loyalty was now being called the country con man by his own fans. Then came the final twist. Investigators uncovered links between Keith's shell company and a Hollywood financier connected to Nicole's previous film deals. If that connection held up, it meant Keith wasn't just using Nicole's name. He was using her professional network, her reputation, her legacy. Betrayal layered on betrayal. Insiders say Nicole's lawyers filed private motions to reclaim every right to her name, likeness, and brand. And there's talk of a documentary in development, one that Nicole Kidman herself might produce, exposing the darker side of love, money, and manipulation in Hollywood. The shocking rumor? Maggie Baugh could be collaborating on it. That possibility sent chills through the industry, the two women at the center of Keith Urban's downfall joining forces to tell their story. The ultimate poetic justice. Desperate, Keith's lawyers issued one last statement calling every claim baseless and defamatory. But by then, the public had already chosen their truth. Social media was flooded with edits, memes, and clips of Keith's old love songs remixed with captions like, "Was he singing to her?" or to his offshore account. In the end, Nicole Kidman packed her bags and flew home to Australia with her daughters. Away from the cameras, away from the noise. Reporters caught one last photo of her at the airport, smiling softly as she looked at her phone. When someone shouted, "Do you have anything to say?" she replied, "Sometimes silence is the loudest truth." And just like that, the love story that once defined Hollywood's idea of perfection became a masterclass in power, resilience, and revelation. Keith Urban was left staring at the ruins of the world he built on secrets, while Nicole Kidman walked away untouched, her grace sharper than vengeance, her silence echoing louder than any song he ever wrote.